The reason Christianity is different than other religions is that we don't have this blind faith.
This way, gents.
Right? We actually have our faith built upon one single provable historical event, and that's the resurrection. And the Apostle Paul even says in 1 Corinthians 15 that if Christ has not been raised, then your faith is useless and you are still guilty of your sins. And so if Jesus didn't rise from the dead, then Christianity is false. We shouldn't be Christians. And so it's really important for us as Christians to say, did the resurrection happen? And what proof do we actually have?
Okay, that makes sense.
And so there's this neat argument it's called the minimal facts argument. And so these are facts that are backed up by the historical data that scholars, whether they're religious or not, agree upon. And they'll say, yes, these are facts from history, but how we explain these facts will look different. We'll talk about that in a second. But these 5 facts go like this. The first one is that Jesus was crucified and buried in a tomb. The second one is that the tomb was empty a few days later. The third one is that over 500 people did historically attest that they had seen the risen Christ. The fourth and fifth are a little bit similar, and the fourth one is that James, a brother of Jesus, became a Christian. And we'll talk about the significance of that in a second. And the fifth one is that Paul, a persecutor of the church, became a Christian.
It just got interesting.
And so 4 and 5 are interesting because in the Gospels of Mark and John, it's specifically said that Jesus' brothers thought that he was nuts, right? Jesus was saying that he's the Messiah sent from God, and they're saying, our brother is crazy. He's out of his mind. And then they see him crucified, and so of course they're saying, see, he's not the Messiah, he's dead. But then James becomes an early church leader. What could have caused that to happen? Probably the resurrection, right? And then also with the Apostle Paul, he hated the early church. He hated the followers of Jesus. He was trying to stop the church. He was persecuting Christians. What could change him? Well, he says that it was because he saw the risen Christ. And so there's a lot of ways people will try to get rid of this, that, they just hallucinated everything. But that doesn't make sense of the Apostle Paul. He wasn't distraught. He wouldn't have hallucinated about the risen Christ. So that's out of there. People will say that Jesus wasn't actually dead. That doesn't make sense based on fact number 1, that Jesus was crucified and buried in a tomb. The Romans are professional killers. Jesus was dead. There's no way around that fact. And so when you look at just these 5 facts, there's many more. We have to come to the conclusion, what's the best explanation? And I think the best explanation is that Jesus did in fact rise from the dead.
Great! We gotta celebrate!
And so you and I today can joyfully submit to our risen King.